What women really think about size, the psychology of female desire. Have you ever found yourself wondering, what actually influences female desire? Not the surface-level myths, not the loud assumptions you hear in locker rooms or see splashed across adult websites, but the real, quiet truths most people never talk about. Because there's a world of difference between what pop culture says women want and what actually stirs their minds and bodies. And here's the part no one ever teaches you. Female desire is psychological first, physical second. Welcome to Living Stoic. This is the channel for men who are done chasing illusions and ready to start mastering reality. Here, we don't react to noise. We live by inner law. Let's get into it. There's a statistic passed around in psychological circles, one you've probably heard, maybe in a different form. Nearly 90% of women have a clear preference when it comes to male anatomy. But here's the twist. It's not what you think. In fact, it's the opposite of what most men believe. Because while movies, social media, and locker room bravado might make you think women are obsessed with size, the truth is much more grounded. What most women actually prefer is something men rarely think to embody. Let's go beneath the surface. The science of attraction, especially when it comes to female psychology, is far more intricate than looks or length. Yes, physical traits matter to a point, but when it comes to genuine appeal, long-term attraction, intimacy that makes her feel something, the mind plays a much bigger role than you've been told. And despite the noise in media, the studies say something quietly consistent. Women are not chasing extremes. They're not obsessed with exaggerated size. They're not fantasizing about pornographic proportions. They're paying attention to something else entirely. Research from institutions like the University of California and findings in evolutionary psychology keep pointing back to one thing. Women overwhelmingly prefer balance. Not the biggest, not the boldest, but the man who shows health, cleanliness, and proportion. Why? Because those traits send powerful biological cues to the female brain. This man is healthy. This man is clean. This man is likely safe. This man is sexually aware, not performative. And those cues, they go deeper than attraction. They activate her nervous system on a level far more primal. So what does balance mean in real numbers? In one of the largest surveys of its kind, researchers found that most women, across different ages and relationship backgrounds, preferred a penis around 6 to 6.5 inches in erect length. Roughly average, but with a slightly thicker than average girth. Why? Because thicker girth often feels more intimate and subconsciously communicates reproductive fitness. But here's the part most men miss. Context matters more than measurement. Women reported that their preferences shifted based on the setting. A casual encounter? They might lean toward visual excitement. A long-term partner? They prioritize comfort, cleanliness, trust, and emotional connection. Psychology reveals something most men never hear. Female sexual desire is shaped by a mix of instinct and social conditioning. From an evolutionary lens, women are hardwired to look for signs of vitality, cleanliness, emotional steadiness, genetic fitness. That's why a symmetrical, well-groomed appearance matters more than whether you're above average. It's not just about what you have, it's how well you care for it. Your hygiene, your grooming, your energy, they send signals. Signals her subconscious reads faster than you can say a word. But let's be real, we don't live in caves anymore. Today, women are also influenced by social narratives, especially the false ones pumped out by adult entertainment and unrealistic films. These stories distort not just men's expectations, but women's too. And the result? Many women feel ashamed if their preferences don't align with what's supposed to turn them on. But when women are honest, away from social pressure, they say something very different. They say they want to feel seen, heard, safe, desired, not just as a body, but as a whole person. And when it comes to sexual fulfillment, they rank emotional connection, communication, and cleanliness far above size. In fact, in follow-up interviews, women consistently said, "It's not the size, it's how he makes me feel." Because for them, intimacy is holistic. Size may get her attention, but presence is what holds it. Not the performance, not the push for perfection, but the way a man shows up, with warmth, with confidence, with intention, with the ability to listen and feel. And this leads to something profound. Women respond to psychological safety just as strongly, if not more, than physical stimulation. This isn't soft talk, it's biological truth. When a woman feels emotionally supported, when she senses she can express her desires without judgment, her nervous system relaxes, and when her nervous system relaxes, her body opens, her breathing changes, her muscles soften, her mind lets go. And that's when intimacy becomes not just pleasurable, but transformative. This is where many men either rise into confidence or collapse under conditioning. Let's talk about self-perception, because this is the part of the conversation most men avoid. It's the late-night insecurity, the silent comparison, the belief that unless you measure up to some impossible ideal, you're not enough. But let me tell you something every man needs to hear. Women can sense your shame before you ever undress. That self-doubt you carry in your posture, your voice, your silence, it speaks louder than anything else. And ironically, it's not your size that pushes her away. It's your belief that size is the only thing that matters. Because here's what's truly magnetic. A man who carries himself with dignity, who walks in a room and doesn't need to perform. Who knows how to clean his body and clear his energy. A man who sees intimacy as a mutual emotional experience, not a performance to prove his worth. This man radiates something that can't be faked: safety. And to a woman, that's everything. Safety is sexy. Presence is attractive. Confidence rooted in calm, not ego, is irresistible. Studies have even shown this in real numbers. When men openly and calmly shared their insecurities with a partner, the overwhelming majority of women responded with empathy, not judgment. Why? Because vulnerability, when expressed without neediness, builds trust, and trust opens the door to deeper sexual connection. Let's also address something critical: timing. What women find attractive at 22 may be different than what moves them at 42. Hormones shift, emotional needs evolve, their relationship to their own body transforms. So a man who clings to one performance-based identity will always fall behind. But the man who remains curious, who adapts, who listens as deeply as he touches, that's the man who grows with her. And the man who grows with her is the one she never forgets. Let's zoom out even further. A man's entire presence plays a role in attraction. How he leads in his life, the way he handles pressure, his sense of purpose, his personal boundaries, how he responds when she pulls back emotionally. These aren't just character traits. To a woman, they're intimacy cues. They say, this man can hold me emotionally. This man won't collapse under my moods. This man values himself enough not to lose himself in me. So no, the real game isn't about how you look naked. It's about how you make her feel when she's naked. Emotionally. If she can exhale around you, if she doesn't feel like she has to impress or perform, if she feels more herself in your presence, then she'll crave your presence more than anything else. Let's also be real about the damage caused by silence. In many conservative or traditional cultures, women struggle to express what they actually like. They've been taught to be quiet, to endure, to please without being pleased. But when a man creates space for honest conversation, when he asks, listens, and respects the answers, that's when chemistry is created, not just in the body, but in the mind. And when you reach a woman's mind, her body naturally follows. So here's the radical truth. Yes, women do care about your penis, but not in the way the internet told you. They care that it's clean, that it's healthy, that it's a reflection of how you care for yourself. They care that intimacy feels like a shared dance, not a one-sided performance. They care that you show up not just physically, but emotionally, intellectually, energetically. When you focus less on the mirror and more on your mission, your mood, your mental clarity, everything changes. You become the kind of man who doesn't ask, do I measure up? Because you already know your value can't be measured in inches. It's felt in your presence, your energy, your stillness, your warmth, your leadership. Here at Living Stoic, we teach men to stop chasing myths and start leading with real masculine integrity. Because when you master the mind, you become the kind of man who blows hers. Not with size, but with presence. Not with pressure, but with emotional intelligence. Not with the performance of sex, but with the art of connection. So if this video gave you even one insight, one shift in how you view yourself as a man, subscribe, join this movement, and drop this in the comments to anchor it in. I lead with presence. Let it be your code. Let it be your edge. Because true attraction doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts in the mind, and it grows in the heart. And that's what she'll never forget.
you.